What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Cam ATL, and welcome back to another MLB High Five video with your boy. Drop a like down below, comment anything in the comment section, and enter your name into the $50 giveaway I do every week on this channel. Thank you guys for joining me as always. What else? We've been fantastic, man. We had a great weekend. We had another fantastic start to the week yesterday. It's just been amazing. Like both DFS and Prize Picks have just been cashing in consistently. We had another sweep day yesterday where we cashed on DFS and Prize Picks. So it was just another fantastic day. Once again, I stayed up till midnight. I did my research after the slate started yesterday. I got all the pitchers and what number I wanted them at, and I was ready to go. And as soon as Price Picks dropped around midnight, I was able to grab about 7 amazing value plays before they get bumped, put them on the site, and we're good to go once again. So it's been a fantastic strategy. The way that I've been doing this has been fantastic. It's been amazing, and I'm just excited to keep it up. All right. The winner of last week's $50 giveaway. Sorry, I didn't do a video yesterday. The winner of last week's $50 giveaway is Frederick Lacra. Lakra. Frederick Lacra. Congratulations. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody who commented and watched. Let's go ahead and get straight in to this high five, baby. All right, I'm not going to keep up too much of your time. Greenlightdfs.com. You already know all those fantastic tools, player prop tool, ranking tool, NRFI tool, all that good stuff, as well as the optimal lines and the optimal price picks on the MLB Access page that are posted there. All right. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. Starting off at pitcher, Nestor Cortez and Robbie Ray to me are just the best pitching options on this slate. Robbie Ray's going against an Angels squad that strikes out a lot. We already know this Angels team just strikes out a good bit. In the 2 starts against the Angels so far this year, Robbie Ray has had fantastic starts against them both times, 34 and 29 fantasy points in both those starts. It's one of those slates where I haven't really struggled when it comes to the, you can spend up for pitching today and it's not going to really bother you too much. So with that being said, Nestor Cortez and Robbie Ray. So Robbie Ray, fantastic K percent. The dude's absolutely legit. We all know that. I really, really love him. He's a little slightly better at his swing and miss stuff while he's at home, but I'll still take him on the road in LA. No problem, especially against a swing and miss team like the Angels. Nestor Cortez going against Tampa Bay. Now, the numbers here are crazy because Tampa Bay has a 31.3K percent, okay, as of late against right-handed pitching. Cortez has a 30.8 CSW percent at home, which is just fantastic. Both of these things add up to just amazing situation. Cortez was ridiculously low on prize picks last night at 5.5, which was just easy money. Grab the over early on that. He should easily hit 6Ks at least today. I really like Cortez in this spot as well. Fantastic spot. All right, next up. Let's see. At first base, the value on this just seems too good to me, man. This dude has just been killing lefties, especially at home. At home versus lefty, Albert Pujols has been ridiculous. I absolutely love him at 2-2. He's just a value play in a fantastic spot. I really, really like. I know Freeland hasn't been horrible on the road. He's a lot better on the road than he is at home. But St. Louis, man, they just hit lefties so well that this is definitely a spot that could end up being a sneaky stack spot here because Arenado, Goldschmidt, Pujols, all these dudes really hit lefties really well at home. So it could be dangerous for Freeland here. He could give up a lot of runs in this one. And ownership won't be super high on St. Louis because Vegas doesn't have their team total very high. And we already have realized that most people in this industry will just take the high projected teams, stack those up, and just call it a day. That's really their mode of research. I'm telling you that St. Louis is in a fantastic spot. They're not super high team total projected today. So, with that being said, they should be low owned when they honestly shouldn't be. It's a good spot. So, they should have good ownership, but they won't. All right. All right, next up, one of the more important things in DFS is to kind of understand how people like to play this predominantly. Like, if you once you get the hang of how people normally like to play, you can have a fantastic idea of ownership just without looking at anything else. Like, I have a pretty good idea by the end of the day where ownership is going to be and what ownership percent will be on most players, just off how I know people like to play DFS. And things just haven't changed in 7 years since I've been doing this at Greenlight DFS. I mean, I've been playing since DFS originated, but for the last 7 years since I've owned Greenlight DFS, I mean, things just have never changed. People just play the same way. There's not really much expanding on that. So I really love taking advantage of spots that are fantastic, but are going to be less owned because Vegas isn't high on them. Now, there is a spot that I do like that Vegas loves, and that's going to be a couple guys from the Toronto game. I do like some of these guys from Toronto. A couple guys are going to make the high five for me here, and it's just because their prices are really, really good and gets us exposure to the best spot on the slate going against Creamer. Now Creamer's not he's not horrible or anything. He is worse versus righties and lefties. So he gives up almost a 300 average versus righties. I believe, I can't remember the exact number, but I know he's not very good versus righties. That's why we're attacking that. Matt Chapman has been fantastic at home versus righties, like over a 400 ISO. We all know lately this dude's been mashing. He's only 4.5. Get you exposure to that top total. And it's just a fantastic spot. And Chapman's a lot of times one of the guys in this total. Let's say Toronto's high owned, right? A lot of times guys like Chapman and Gurriel will be the lower owned like stack of those guys. Like most times it's the Vladimir Guerrero, Bichette, those guys who get all the ownership. Chapman's is a fantastic spot here. Hopefully his ownership stays fairly in check. But the price on these guys is too low for their skill set versus righties to begin with. Gurriel has 3 at bats versus Freeland, 2 home runs in those 3 at bats. On top of him just hitting righties better than lefties. All right, so Matt Chapman and Gurriel take advantage of people possibly maybe just being like, oh, righty, righty. I want lefty, righty. I'm not going to go righty, righty. There's certain different things that people like to just immediately go with without, it's all about, ease. Like the easiest people can create lineups and not have to spend too much energy in it, they will do. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Matt Chapman and Gurriel, maybe we can get them at decent ownership. They shouldn't be, though. Matt Chapman at 4.5, Gurriel at 4.2. Both these guys hit righties very well. Like I said, Matt Chapman at home versus righties, tremendous power. Gurriel hasn't been hitting with a ton of power. Against Freeland, he has 2 home runs against 3 at-bats. But mainly it's more of like a safe, going to get on base a few times, solid play with Gurriel. Like if you're doing a hit parlay, Gurriel needs to be one of those guys in there. I mean, he's probably one of the more sure thing hits of the day, probably, I would imagine. Easily over 300 batting average versus righties, just solid, gets on base pretty well. He just feels very safe to me in the high five. All right, another pitcher I want to talk about that I like is going to be Justin Steele. Justin Steele is traveling to Washington, but he's already faced this Washington team, a couple times and done very well versus them both times. He just faced them in his last start and did fantastic against them. This is national light. Like this is without Soto. This is a Washington team that's just not as good without Soto, and they've really been struggling versus lefties. They haven't been too bad versus right-handed pitching, but they've really been struggling versus lefties, and this lefty specifically. All right, they've already proven they can't really hit Steele very well, and at 6'2", you can take a guy who's got solid numbers, like my numbers I had jotted down. Let me pull that up that I had jotted down for Prize Picks last night. Steele has a 27.4% CSW percent, which is slightly above average, okay, when he's on the road. That's his on the road CSW percent, which is called strike plus whiff. And then the matchup against Washington. Washington has over a 30% K percent as of late versus lefties. All right, so I have Steele projected around 6Ks. I love Justin Steele. I think he's going to be solid at 6'2". I think he's a fantastic option on this slate today. And he is a guy that if you want to grab some value, you can. I don't see much of a necessity for it, which is why I have Ray and Cortez in the core. But if you want some value, if you want a cheap guy to go with that can get you some bigger spend bats if you feel like you need that, Justin Steele is probably a guy that I feel pretty good with. All right? Nestor Cortez, Robbie Ray, Albert Pujols, Matt Chapman, and Gurriel is the high five. Thank you guys for joining me as always, man. Go get this money. GreenlightDFS.com. Join the squad. Follow me on Twitter at Cam_ATL. Thank you guys for joining, and I'm out. Peace.